Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the press conference for the film Breakaway. We'll be getting underway in just a sec. When we bring out the cast, we'll have about 1 minute of flash photography with the cast standing. And please remember there's no photography after that flash during the press conference. Media, please stand and identify yourself and your media outlet before asking questions. Please make sure all mobile phones are off. Today's press conference will be streamed live on www.tiff.net/festival. And now I'd like to bring out the director, the screenwriter, and the cast of the film Breakaway, as well as our moderator, Eric Kohanek. Thanks a lot.
Click.
We gotta take a picture.
Rob, how you doing?
Hey, how are you guys?
Russell, where are you? Oh, there you are.
Right here. Thanks, George. Thanks for caring, buddy.
Russell, this is your moment. You gotta
camera.
milk it. And Rob. And Rob.
To your right, please.
Heavy artillery lady got the red
To
camera.
your right, please.
Jeez
Louise.
Russell.
George.
You gotta do it. You gotta
Oh, yeah.
pose. You gotta look at every single photographer.
No, he does not.
Simultaneously.
He does not.
This party's over.
You gotta have kind of wall-eyed thing going.
You gotta do the Angelina Jolie sweep.
I don't know if there's any press here.
Okay, guys.
Because all I see is people I know.
Rob, right here, please. Rob, right where the hands are thinking.
You mean Lieberman, right?
My name.
Okay.
Okay, guys, step back, that'd be great.
I can't get an upskirt on me.
Good morning. My name's Eric Kohanek. I'm your moderator for today's panel on Breakaway. Welcome to it. Breakaway has its TIFF premiere tonight at the Visa Screening Room in the Elgin Theatre. It's a serious yet lighthearted tale of a clash that ensues when traditional family values get body checked by modern sports and entertainment. With us today, starting at my right, is director Robert Lieberman. To his right, actor Rob Lowe, who plays Coach Dan Winters in the movie. Next to him, we have Akshay Kumar, a Bollywood icon who appears in a video at the end of the movie. And next to Akshay, we have writer and actor Vinay Vermani, who created the story, came up with the idea. Next to Vinay, we have Canadian comic genius
It's true.
Russell Peters, who stars as Sonu in the film. Next to Russell, we have Gurpreet Singh Googie, Indian comedian who stars as Uncle Sammy. Next to Gurpreet, we have Anupam Kher, who plays Rajiv's father in the movie. And last but certainly not least, we have actor and producer AJ Vermani.
No acting here, just producing.
Yes.
Yeah, he's not acting, that's a
as
real accent.
producer.
Are the Anglos at this end of the table intentionally or
The Anglos or the Angles?
angles? No, angle.
I should have somewhere been there then.
If you have any questions, please stick up your hand so we can get a microphone to you, and feel free to state your name and affiliation if you'd like. Go ahead.
Good morning. Welcome to Toronto. My name is Linda Chair from Fairchild TV of Toronto. Welcome to Toronto. Good morning. This question is to the director, Robert. Of course, these films talk about breaking away a lot of issues, cross-cultural and things. What is your inspiration, and what would you like to inspire to the audience?
Well, the origin of this piece came from this young man sitting in the middle of the table, and that dream was joined in with his father, the gentleman sitting at the end of the table. It was their thought initially to make this story. They brought me on board to help mold and shape it into a motion picture. And I think it was all of our intent to say something, to make a really fun, entertaining film, and at the same time have it be meaningful and about something. And that something has to do with immigration and becoming part of a new country. And I feel that the film is a metaphor for any group of people coming from a foreign land to a new land and wanting to be assimilated into that society.
If we can pick up from that, Vinay, maybe you can talk about how the story idea came to you and a bit about the process of getting it made.
Yeah, I would love to. About 2 years ago, I moved back to Toronto from New York. I was at a point in time in my life where I think my character Rajveer Singh is in the film. You know, a young man trying to find his way, trying to find his calling in life. I was auditioning, I was reading scripts, and you know, nothing was really happening for me. My dad gave me a piece of advice which changed my life. He said, create your own opportunity. He said, how do you want to see yourself? Which is so great because that's what they teach young actors in acting school, is to keep writing. Because it just keeps your mind constantly working about roles. So I sat down one night and I took elements from my life. You know, I thought about people that I've grown up with, and you know, some of the issues that I've struggled with, which is balance, trying to find the balance between being a good son and living up to your parents' expectations, also following your own dreams. And I've always struggled with the balance between being Canadian and Indian. You know, so I took elements from my life, boys that I've grown up with, relationships that I've had, and I wanted to create this story for all families, not just South Asian families, but all families across Canada and the world.
And in that process, maybe AJ, you can talk about putting the film together and bringing Robert on board. And I understand from our conversation before there was a pretty extensive vetting process that went through, that he went through.
Yeah, I think once Vinay showed me the story, then I really liked it, and my producing partner here is Akshay, and Akshay, as you know, has done, he says 130, but I think he's done 150 movies, and I really respect his commercial sensibilities and his marketing sense when it comes to movies. So I ran the script by him, and we spent many days and nights working with him, Akshay and myself, to come up with a story that is relatable, that is believable, and that is what happens when people move from one country to another and adopt a country. And I think three of us came up with, we sat through many days and nights to work on the script, and we wanted to convey the message of a journey of a young man, how he adopts to his adopted country, but at the end of the day, we have to convey the message through some medium, and we chose Canada's religion, which is ice hockey, but we didn't want to make it an ice hockey movie. And when Robert Lieberman was, his name came up because he had directed Mighty Ducks 3, and I said, Rob, I really like you, I really enjoyed talking to you, but at the end of the day, we don't want to make it into a hockey movie. And Rob said, look, watch a couple of these of my movies, and I said, we're looking for somebody who can handle the emotion behind this whole thing. When I saw Rob's movies like Table for Five, for example, and as a matter of fact, Akshay, Vinay and I saw it in Vancouver, sitting in a hotel room, and we were convinced that Rob Lieberman is our man to direct this movie.
One of the surprising elements, and maybe not so surprising, was Rob, your presence in the movie. It's certainly not your first hockey movie. No. Can you talk a bit about how you came to the project?
Well, I read the script and responded to exactly the themes that I think that Rob responded to, is what it means to be a good son, what it means to, as a father, to let your children go, which at the end of the day is the hardest thing a father has to do. And you know, my kids are at that age, so I'm going through that myself. I loved the nexus of Bollywood and Hollywood. You know, that's an industry that I would like to know more about. It's a very important industry. I'm actually shocked that there isn't more of a meld between our two industries. So for me, I really, if hockey in the movie is the way that these characters learn about assimilating, me doing this movie was the way I learned about Bollywood, which I was really interested in.
And speaking of Bollywood, actually, you want to talk a bit about your involvement in the film as well?
My involvement in the film starts from the beginning. That is, as you all heard, since 2 years back, I heard the script and he wanted me to give my expertise about Bollywood. How can we involve Bollywood into it? And Bollywood, as you guys all know, I mean, it's all about songs, emotions, drama, and which is completely very much there in Breakaway. And so my involvement started 2 years back only, and then we thought of, me and AJ thought of producing this film together, and we liked the whole idea. And Vinay, I think, has been watching all the Bollywood films. I think, how many films have you watched by now?
Only 150, and they're all yours.
Yes. Okay.
We have a question down front.
Yeah, hi. My question is for Akshay. My name is Renu Mehta. I'm with the Indian Express. So Akshay, this is your first involvement with an Indo-Canadian venture, is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so how has the experience been, and will you be making more films in the future?
Yes, that's the whole idea, that I want to make more and more films. My thing is that I have really enjoyed making this film, and it's been so easy. Everything was available here. It's there for you, and I've really enjoyed making this film. So I have this in my plan, that in my production I want to keep on making more and more films.
So how has the transition been from cricket to ice hockey?
From cricket to ice hockey. Well, hockey is India's national game, so it's not a different thing for us. But that's the only thing, is we play on grass there, now we are just playing on ice. So there, that's the only difference, that's it.
Gurpreet, maybe you can talk a bit about the meshing of Indian and North American culture and comedy. And Russell, maybe you want to talk about it talk about a bit about your experience, Gurpreet, and audiences and the reactions here.
Yeah, definitely. It was really exciting for me to work with these guys, because I'm working with Bollywood movies, Punjabi movies since 10-15 years, but this was the extremely good experience to work with Hollywood people. They are very particular about their work. They are very much according to the schedule, according to the plan. So this is a real thing which we should learn from them. And it was a great experience to work with Mr. Rob Lieberman especially. My all thanks to Mr. Rob. Actually, he kept me under control, because in fact, in Punjabi movies, in Bollywood movies, I'm a bit loud as a comedian. But he kept me under control, and he has shown me a new path where I can walk. He has shown me my new dimensions. Thank you so much, Rob, for this.
It's my pleasure. That's really cool. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
I found Rob Lieberman a little handsy on set, to be honest with you. I don't know what goosing me has to do with anything.
I don't either.
Russell, you've had a pretty busy fall. You hosted the Geminis last week. You've got a star coming up on the Walk of Fame, I think. And,
That is correct.
And this coming in.
Wait a minute. You're getting a star on the Walk of Fame?
In
Canadian
Canada.
one.
Okay, that's fine.
It's 25% less of the star that you would get in Hollywood. But with the exchange rate, it's worth more now. So it's actually a solar system. So
Talk a bit about your transition from stand-up to acting and blending them.
well, I mean, people keep saying, so this is your second film, because I guess they think Source Code was my first film. But in fact, I'd been doing movies since '94, just not consistently, and not good ones. But so this is like possibly my second good film. So the first one, my first film, was a movie called Booze Can.
Come on, what?
Yep.
Booze Can?
Booze
or
Can.
Booze Camp?
No, Booze Can. Nicholas Campbell directed it.
Love this.
My name in the credits was Snake's Friend. I didn't even have a name, so classic Canadian cinematic release.
We have a question over here.
It's Kinda Mardambe from Press Plus One. I had a question actually for Vinay about I did notice that it was very much a film about assimilation and how coming from different cultures. But the one thing I noticed about the sports is that you were showing the celebration of having both cultures present, which is something that quite often it's about choosing from being the young generation to the older generation. I wanted to see if you'd speak a little bit more about that.
About the whole celebration aspect of this film? Yeah, I mean, this film is all about celebrating our differences. And that's what Canada prides itself in. And that was what we wanted to convey through this story. And I think wherever there are going to be Indians, there's going to be a really big party in this movie. And this movie's just full of color. It's full of energy. And it's such an honor because that's what Toronto stands for. That's what Canada stands for. So to have this film premiere in this city, it's just a dream come true. But, I just hope that all families across the world, they come into this movie and they also feel that sense of celebration. And I hope that families, after a really long time, we've made a movie that the whole family can come together and watch a film. All generations can come and really take something home with it as well. So I feel that when people come to see Breakaway, they're going to leave with a part of Breakaway.
And I have just a second part to that question. It's pretty much for Rob Lowe and Akshay. Having such experience in the film industry, I read your memoir, and I thought it was kind of awesome that you had grown, with the industry and progressed in a better way than maybe some in the industry have. So I wanted to know what advice you would give to Vinay for his career blossoming.
Well, geez, Vinay's first movie, he's starred in it and written it. So I think I need to ask Vinay for advice. My first movie, I was overwhelmed.
The Outsiders?
Yes, that was my first, yeah. Vinay inspires me because to see a new generation of actors taking control of their destinies, I think is really, really great. And that's one of the things that I learned and love about Bollywood and what Akshay has done so tremendously is in that industry, you have to do it all. You're expected to do it all. You're expected to sing, you're expected to dance, you're expected to produce, and that's so amazing because I think in our industry, we're still very much pigeonholed. I mean, some actors aren't allowed to do comedy and drama, let alone act, dance, write, direct. So seeing this group is a real inspiration to me.
I would just like to add something to that. The first day I met Rob, I was so nervous. This was my first day on a movie set. And I had shot about 6 hours of hockey, so I was already exhausted. And I'm nervous. And I've never met Rob, and he's doing some laps outside. And I go up to him. I say, "Hi, Mr. Lowe. I'm Vinay Vermani. I'm playing Rajveer Singh." And I stick out my hand. And he grabs me, and he gives me a big hug. I'll never forget that. He said, "Dude, 20 years ago, I was here shooting Youngblood, and you're exactly where I was." And he said, "This is what I love about Canada, is that an Indian kid like you can be the face of such a big film." And he said, "I got your back." And it's true. This was a very tiring film. It was, the schedule was very tight. There was a lot of pressure, but I had my coach watching my back, so. All right.
It's true, they do have similar backs.
Mr. Kerr, I wonder if you could talk a bit about the role of Raj's dad and how you approach that. And
well, in my 450 films, I have played about 400 times a dad to some actor or the other.
You started as
what brings in, as I will agree with Rob, I think what brings in is the nervous energy of a newcomer and a certain amount of innocence that he brings in. And then rest of his life he tries to capture that innocence that he had in the first film. So I hope that Vinay continues to have that. So when you have worked so much and then you work with a newcomer, it brings a certain amount of responsibility and certain amount of enthusiasm and also a spontaneity which over a period of years you lose. This is a father which I have seen not only in India but also in Canada, China, in Japan. There's always a conflict between a father and son because of the ego issues that they have. Father, instead of being a father, tries to play the role of a father to his son, and the son recognizes that. And I have felt that all the time, and I think it was easy. And with Rob at the helm of things, I think did a very good job with me. And also what happens is when you work with new actors in a different country, you're on your toes because you want to do your best. And also the reactions, I remember my one scene with Rob that I did, there was magic is, I think, too strong a word, but it was magic because both of us were done our great work in our own respective countries, but the nervousness and the wanting to be completely new makes it very different. So the scene in Gurdwara, I think, was one of my favorite scenes. So I think it's playing a father is, you have to know the son also.
We have a question back here.
Oh, hi. Shauna, City TV. Hey, Russell.
Hey, Shauna.
You've come a long way since floor directing at City TV.
You bet your ass I have.
Yeah. You know, you're a successful comedian. You have 2 good films under your belt. Can you just talk about your roots in Toronto and how it helped get you to where you are today?
Well, my roots are in Brampton, first of all. I got to shout out Brampton. But, I mean, as far as, doing things that people never really did before, that's kind of my thing, As far as sports goes, I boxed, so, there's not a lot of Indian kids in the boxing gym, especially back then. I was in there working on my right jab, my left jab, and my punjab. And obviously, thanks, buddy. Obviously, being the first Indian guy to be in the stand-up game for 22 years now, I mean, this movie rung true for me in that arena because it's about a kid who wants to do something that nobody has done before, and so I kind of got the idea. I was like, I know this guy, not this one, but the one in the script I knew. That's all I got for you, Shauna.
Sure.
I just wanted to elaborate just on one point that Anupam was speaking of, and that is what it was. The question was something to do with working with a young, emerging talent, and it was not by accident that AJ and I and Akshay and the other producers decided that we would surround him with the finest actors we could find, so that as he developed habits, they would be good habits, and they would up his game. And he knows that standing across from Akshay, standing across from Rob Lowe, standing across from Googie, from Russell, and from Anupam, and from the other actors in this piece, who I also respect tremendously, he knew he had to raise his game up. And I have to say, from my perspective, and obviously it's somewhat biased, I think I told him last night, he pushed himself beyond his own borders and his own limitations.
We have a question over here.
Hi, John with Canadian Tourism. I had a chance to speak with some of you yesterday and some later today. So I had a question for Rob Lowe from the American perspective and for Russell from the hometown perspective. Did you have any favorite experiences or favorite spots in the Toronto area while shooting this film?
I've spent so much time shooting in Toronto that I literally have trees in the Don Valley Parkway that I look at every fall and go, not as nice as it was in 1984. But yeah, no, I have my favorite restaurants, and I have friends up here. I've been coming here for so long, and it really does, it feels like home to me here. And just a sidebar, all the things I've done in Toronto, I've never done a movie in Toronto that's supposed to be Toronto. And I think that's really, really cool.
It's just good to be home. It's always going to be home for me. So, I mean, I know the city inside and out. I can direct a cab driver around the shortcuts around this city. And that has nothing to do with me being Indian. That has more to do with knowing the city inside and out. So whatever you need, let me know. Need to know a place to eat? I'll show you.
We have a question over here.
Yeah, it's for Rob. It's for Zuber Radio. Having shot here so long, how have you seen the industry change in terms of the film industry?
Well, I think it's always there. It's always been a really good industry in Canada and in here. We've always had great crews, great artisans up here. This film festival is my favorite film festival. I get to a lot of them, and I think it's probably the best run with the most prestige. I mean, there's other that have other things, but this one sort of has it all together. And I just feel really comfortable here. Maybe it's because I shot my first thing here in 1984. But I always love coming up here, and I think it just gets better and better every year. Sure.
Question over here.
Hi everyone, Ganeet from Filmy Cafe. Pleasure having you on the panel. Pleasure having Breakaway at TIFF. This question's for Akshay and a little bit for Vinay as well. Akshay, you made playing Sing on the Indian celluloid on Indian screen. You made playing Sing on Indian Sing. Sardar. Sikh. Yes. Cool on Indian celluloid and Indian cinema. Now this film is introducing sort of that concept to an international audience. So what do you hope the message for that international audience would be? What does it mean to be a Singh, and what do you think this film will bring?
Well, for me, Singh is always king. Okay. So it's nothing got to do with the messages to everyone. It's not got to do with the messages coming from the Singh side. So whatever the message is for everyone. It's about sports, and I love sports movies. And that's why I decided I want to produce this film. You must have seen, Mr. Director and the writer himself has told you about what the film is. So that's the only message. So it's nothing got to do only that we have to, the Singhs are giving some kind of messages. That's it.
Hi, I'm Indira
I feel
Kannan.
that even though the team is called the Speedy Singhs, just like what you were saying, it's not about being Punjabi or being South Asian. The Singh team is created to show that, hey, we're different. But when it comes to playing sports, it doesn't depend on the color of your skin, your race, or your religion. It just depends on your drive. And, so that's what this film's about. It has a big universal message that's beyond any community.
And just further to what these gentlemen have said, I think there's two areas that bring people together, whether it's different races, color, and different nationalities. One is sports and one is music. And I think that's what this film is about, is sports, it's about music, it's about family, so it brings everybody together. So that was our theme.
I want to add there that even though the film is made in Canada, it has an Indian heart, which is larger than life. And that's what the message to the rest of the world is.
Yeah.
A question down here.
Let me just add one thing here as well, and that is Mr. Lowe signed on to this movie and came in as a consummate professional, did all his homework, and in a couple occasions he would come to us and AJ and Vinay and say, I had another thought on what my character might say. And he makes a speech at the end of this movie, which I think is one of the most beautiful speeches ever. And in that speech that he wrote for himself, he says he's trying to boost up his team who were about to win the championship, but end up having to go into overtime to save the game. And he said, I know you're different and all that, but if you win this game, there'll be only one difference between you and them. You'll be the champions. And I get goosebumps when I say that.
Thank you. It was fun. And you know what? Listen, it was great to be able to work with filmmakers who allow you to collaborate like that. I was writing my book at the exact time I was writing the speech, so I was like all warmed up. It was like a writing machine. So thank you for letting me add that in.
Thank you.
Question down here.
I'm Indira Kannan from Business Standard in India. I have a question for Akshay Kumar, and maybe Mr. Lieberman could also address part of that. Now you have a lot of big Hollywood studios producing films in India and trying to address that market. I was wondering if you think projects like these are, in a way, efforts by Indian filmmakers to broaden their appeal and look at global markets, and also whether you would consider this, to have a major appeal in, for instance, a mainstream Canadian or a mainstream market. And if in any way these days an Indian connection to a project makes it a little more bankable in any way. Thanks.
You want to know whether all those big studios, what did you ask me the first thing? You can say it just.
No, I meant that a lot of Hollywood studios are coming in and trying to address the
They're
Indian
already
market.
there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I meant projects like these represent an effort by the Indian film industry to broaden their appeal to a non-Indian market as well.
Well, they're already there. They're making so many films. This film is actually distributed there by Viacom Paramount. That's a huge company. And what else you want to know about? By Indian filmmaker to a non. Are they appealing to that? Well, yes, that's the whole idea, is to take Bollywood global more and more, as much as possible. And that's what we are trying to do. And that's where I also come in, that this is just one step towards it. And I want to take it more and more further. And that's why I want to produce more and more films with it like that. And see, a lot of technology has been taken from Hollywood coming towards India. And if you see, the Indian films have, technologically wise, it's improved so much by now. So that's what we are trying to do there.
I think as the globe has shrunk through internet and other media, the Bollywood market and the Bollywood films became more and more available, and Bend It Like Beckham was a major breakthrough. That's a very mass appeal movie that was not just for a South Asian audience, and it was received greatly, and then it was followed years later by Slumdog Millionaire, which won the Academy Award. So I think there's an indication here that Bollywood and Indian films are being embraced by our world community now. It's not, they always were recognized, but now they're becoming a commercially viable globally.
And just to add to the filmmaking on this level, I don't think there's a week goes by, Rob, where you and I are not talking about some project or the other. Rob comes up with some storyline, script. I phone Akshay and I said, what do you think if we make a movie like this, which would appeal to not only Hollywood people, but also sort of cross-cultural, and it'll make it towards Asia as well at the same time. So we are constantly, between Rob, Akshay, and myself, are always talking about what is going to be, how do we take this thing to the next level and expand the cooperation between the two oceans, between the two worlds here, and make something that appeals to audiences in Asia as well as India and Hollywood. So,
Okay, we have time for a couple more questions down here in the front. And
Hi, Melissa Leong, National Post. This question is open to everyone. I wanted to ask for anecdotes of your most memorable or favorite scenes to shoot.
In this movie? Well, that's easy for me. And this is a testament to my producer, AJ Vermani. I've worked with a lot of producers. And AJ has this remarkable way of putting things together that you frankly don't quite believe are going to happen until they happen. And because they're so extraordinary. And he says, listen, tomorrow, you need to get some sleep tonight because we're shooting a music video tomorrow. I said, we're shooting a music video? Oh, okay, great. So I come to the set thinking, it'll be some B-roll camera crew and grabbing actors as they become available from the main unit, and we'll throw some music on it and, hope for the best. We get there, it's Ludacris and Drake and the biggest music video director in the business, and I was like, oh my God. And then he's like, all right, get up there and do it. So I have to do get my swagger on. And listen, let's face it, I know you've been waiting for the day when you could see me and Ludacris in a music video. I know that's what the world's been waiting for.
It has been waiting.
It has been, I know. And we deliver in this movie. So me and Luda and Ashkay and doing our thing. Oh my gosh, Vinay doing that was pretty fun.
For me, there were many memorable moments in this film. for personal satisfaction, the one-on-one experience with these wonderful actors, and like I said, there's another whole group of wonderful actors that aren't sitting here right now that it was a pleasure. But the opening shot of this movie was a dream that I had in my head. I panicked and I called up AJ at one point and I went, oh no, this is a fantasy of this person thinking they're on a breakaway. And I thought, when I was originally asked about it, I said, oh, we could just shoot it at the hockey arena. I went, no, it's a fantasy. It's got to be the biggest venue it could be. And so I said, how can we do? It should be like at the ACC or something. And sure enough, we ended up at the ACC. They gave us like 6 minutes between periods. There was not a chance we were going to be able to film it. So we put Russell on the big Jumbotron during one of the period breaks and said, if you'd like to be in a movie with me, stick around after. And I don't know, it was over 3,000, maybe 4,000 people stuck around, so that the very opening shot, live shot in the movie, which is a slow motion shot of a skater skating towards a breakaway, a perspective we never get of hockey, and 4,000 people in slow motion standing up to cheer. There is no computer graphics in that. That actually they're all real people. They were there. They were in this movie. And that's, I mean, it was a dream come true. And I have to say that every time I would come up with a dream as a director, Mr. Vermani would say, I like that. All right, let's do that. There's a skating fantasy sequence in it. And it didn't start. It was supposed to be a Bollywood dance number. And I said to AJ, show me your 5 favorite of all times in Bollywood, because I didn't know that many Bollywood films. Show me your top 5, and I'll try and beat it. So he showed me 5, and they were pretty darn good musical numbers. I mean, really impressive. And I said, but this is a skating film. Why don't we do like a pair skating thing, you know? And he liked that idea. And then he said to me, well, where do you want this to take place? And I said, well, a skating arena isn't particularly romantic. And then I had this thought, and it was a kind of absurd kind of director's whimsy. And it was, what if it was winter in India, and the reflecting pools at the Taj Mahal were frozen, and they were skating on that? And Mr. Vermani said, I like that, let's do it. And so we did.
So he went to India and froze the water.
The entire
at
country.
The Taj Mahal.
Okay, quickly in the third row and then down front.
Hi, good morning. Oh, sorry, Russell, still talking.
What happened?
Sorry, Russell. Good morning, everyone. Andrea Case, CTV News. I apologize as late, so if this has been answered, my apologies. Mr. Vermani Sr., can you talk about how this deal came together? A lot of films at TIFF are looking for a distribution deal. If you watched the Geminis the other night, we saw Russell all over it promoting the film. You've got a deal. How did you secure this deal? Because on paper, it might not have been an easy sell.
Deal means putting this together. Well, when Vinay showed me a one-page story, you know, as you know, Akshay and I have known each other for 21 years, and we're family, and I respect his commercial and marketing sense when it comes to films. We ran the story by him, and when he read the story, he says, let's work on the script, and I'm in the deal, and we jointly produced this film. And we have 2 other producing partners from Canada as well, Whizbang Films and Caramel Films. So all of us, it was like putting a dream team together. Don Carmody is one of our producers who produces Chicago and Resident Evil series, and you know, producers like Frank who produced Passchendaele, movies like that. So when we put all the talent together, we got the director after I watched some of his movies. Robert came on board. And I think when Akshay and I sat down, our biggest challenge was to find the right casting for the film. And in conjunction with Robert Lieberman, we sat down and we had names. For example, when Rob Lowe, it was like 3 weeks to go on the film, and we had a couple of offers, and we were talking to a common friend of ours, recruiting for some very secondary role, and she says, have you cast this thing for this role for Dan Winters, the coach? And I said, well, we have 2 offers out there, and people are considering it. She said, you got 3 weeks to the film. And she says, what do you think about Rob Lowe? And I kind of fell off my chair, and I said, oh my God, like, why didn't I think about this? And I said, well, she said, you know, do you ever see the movie Youngblood? And I said, yeah, I've seen it many times actually. I'd seen every sports film when we were going to make this movie. And she says, well, Rob's a good friend of mine. I'll email him the script. And you know, Rob can smell good things when he can smell good projects. And he read it within an hour and a half, and we were on the phone. And he says, look, I love this. I can bring in a lot of good ideas, which he did. And Rob was on. It was like just a fluke that kind of worked for both of us. And then Clayton Peters, Russell's brother, we've known each other for a long time. We talked to him about this role. And he says, look, I just don't want to do a film. I want to do a movie. If you understand the difference between the two. I want it to be an event. I want it to be something special. And, you know, Russell read the script, and within 24 hours, I got an email saying the kid's in. So,
I'm the kid.
Mr. Keir came on because Akshay has had a long, outstanding relationship with him. I think they must have done 300 movies together, something like that. And when he recommended Mr. Keir, I said, can you get him? He says, yeah, I'll call him right now. Mr. Keir, you're doing this movie. And he says, actually, if you say, I'm in, without reading the script because of the relationship and the confidence they have in each other. Mr. Gurpreet, again, through Akshay. So I think the key thing here was to put together a team which is not only a dream team of the producers bringing their own expertise, but it was a dream team of the cast. And the dream team of, like, Philip Barker, who's our set designer on this movie. It's an amazing, you'll see a parade at Yonge Street today starting at 7:30, how he's put together this whole parade that is going to be about the movie. So I think the key thing here was, you know, my strength in all my life, whether what businesses I have been, is not knowing or doing things, is to finding the right and the best people to be in the team. And I think Team Breakaway here is what it's all about. It's not about me or it's not about Rob Lieberman. It's about the team together that what we've been able to pull off. And everybody, like anybody I have talked to, they said, this is a Canadian movie, but yet it's so un-Canadian. I mean, I take that honestly as a compliment because Canadian movies never sort of make it beyond this border. And I can tell you through Akshay's efforts and his endorsement and his partnership in the movie has this is the first Canadian movie that's going to be opening in India with 600 screens with Viacom Paramount as our partner on it. So, and UK we are getting a wide release. Australia we're getting. So all these, this is the first time a Canadian movie people are spending, we have a total spend about $6 to $8 million globally for P&A for this movie, which I think speaks not for me or my abilities, it speaks for the team that's sitting on this table today.
And it was a really, the team, as you can see, we all get along. The only conflict we had was between Rob and I, because we both agree that there's only one uber hockey movie, and that's Slapshot. And then below that, the question is it Youngblood or is it the Mighty Ducks? And I throw that open to the floor.
All right, on that note, I'm afraid we've run out of time. Thank you all very much for coming, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all 6 of you for